Time for the snapshot on Neds AFL Unpopular Opinions. I know what you're saying, Ryan. You've never looked more attractive in your whole life. But no, it's me, Dylan, filling in for Ryan. He's having a holiday this week. Tom Rockliff remains. Lynchy's just outside giving the dogs a smacko. Tom, I thought what we'd do this week is we'd just go really hard on the futures forecast. Let's go all in on the futures forecast because we had some interesting results on the weekend, and I don't think any market is an absolute shoo-in, just having a look at what's available at the moment. So outside of the Swans, now obviously they had that loss on the weekend, and some may say it was the loss they need to have. They're at $3 to winning the flag, but who would you fancy if you remove the Swans from the field at the moment?
Ooh, take them out. It still has to be Carlton, but I think the Lions are coming. I think their best is good enough if they can get that forward half functioning. Collingwood, I'm still not convinced on. They're sort of up and down. Once they get all their players back, it may be different. We've seen them get a couple back on the weekend, but when you got three coming in, you can be a little bit underdone. So running out of steam, but I think it's down to, I think Sydney's to lose, and then you've got Carlton and Brisbane as the contenders behind them.
Very interesting. With the grand final, I mean, the Lions keep it up. If the Brisbane can keep it up, they're $5 to make it to the grand final, which at the moment is a pretty good value bet. Or do you reckon Fremantle's shown they might mean business if they can beat the Swans? Because they've certainly got big upsets in them.
Yeah, they certainly do. Freo's best has been proven to be good enough this year. I would probably underestimate them, and probably everyone still in the competition does. They're sitting third on the ladder. They're third for a reason. They've been able to win those games of footy. So I think there's still a chance. I still think that the other team's best footy is better, and Fremantle won't be able to go with them. But they're almost a sleeping giant, aren't they? They're thereabouts. They're underestimated. They fly under the radar. Everyone's focusing on Sydney, Carlton, Brisbane, these teams, Collingwood to a degree. So maybe opposition teams aren't putting as much time into Fremantle, working out how to beat them. They've put their energy into Collingwood, how to nullify them and beat them. So they may continue to fly under the radar.
And they've probably got a percentage booster this Saturday night as they're facing my lowly Tigers out at Optus Stadium. Best value for the top four, you reckon?
I think Sydney will finish on top. Carlton will finish second. Brisbane will finish third and Fremantle fourth. So I'm not sure what the market says their value-wise, but probably Fremantle.
Hawthorn, 220 to make the 8?
I don't think so. I think they're certainly improved, but I don't think they make the 8.
And if you're one to be a bit cruel, miss top 8, which team out of the bunch would be the best value bet to miss out on the top 8 right now? I've got the Bombers at $2.50 and Geelong at $3.10. Essendon. Yep. I think Essendon and Melbourne will fall out and the Giants will miss as well. So Giants, Melbourne or Bombers, but I think the best value would be the Bombers. Melbourne, the favourite to miss the top 8 in our market at time of record, which is Wednesday morning, the 3rd of July, $1.33. Jeez, it's a bit harsh if you're a Demons fan there. Brownlow betting, one that's always close to your heart. Nick Dacos, $3.75. Patrick Curips, $4.50. The Bont, $5. Heaney, $6. Who's the best of the bunch? Or is there a rank outsider? And a favourite subject of mine when it comes to the Brownlow, could we see a tied Brownlow this year?
I think any year we can almost see one. It seems to be one or two votes. We haven't had a blowout for a while. I'd love to see the Bont win it. I think he continually. I think he's been the best player in the competition for 4 or 5 years now. Unfortunately, just hasn't fallen in. But again, the Sydney players may take too many votes off each other. Heaney, Goulden, Warner. Merritt will poll really well in Essendon's wins, I think. So it is a good chance to poll. Dacos is doing Dacos things, whether he continues to poll 3 votes. Paddy Cribs, if he keeps having 40. But again, Lachie Neale, your man Lachie Neale at 26, he can still poll really well. So I think it'll be set up as a really good Brownlow medal count. The next 7-8 weeks are going to be vital to identifying the winner.
Zach Barrett, $15. Caleb Sarong, $17 as well. So, and Caleb Sarong, especially, we were just talking about Fremantle being under the radar. He will certainly gain some votes during the year. So it should be one to watch out for. Now, this was a one-way race a couple of weeks ago. This was basically Winks. George Wardlaw, $1.90 now to win the Rising Star. Do you think he'd be at shorter odds if he wasn't in the year that Harley Reid and Sam Darcy had to be removed from the field? But he's a star.
Well,
he is an outright star, but so is Ollie Dempsey, so is Darcy Wilson. Like, we're seeing some bloody good players still in this field, despite who's been removed from it.
Yeah, I think so. The other one that I think maybe Northern States, and I see him a bit more than other people, Kai Lohmann. I think he's a match winner. Yeah, he can be a potential match winner, and if he bobs up and kicks goals, he was a bit quieter on the weekend, got a bit of a head knock, but kicked a really important goal late. He's still at $26, so there's some good value there, but again, I think it's probably Wardlaw's to lose at this point. But again, you take the two favourites out. I think Harley Reid's the best player, best first-year player we've probably seen in AFL footy, but he's not there, so you got to move on. Dempsey, if he can kick bags or a good, consistent end of the season, 2-3 goals here and there, he may firm a bit more as well.
Couple to take into the weekend. North Melbourne versus the Gold Coast Suns, and it's one I want to bring up for the multi a bit later on. The Suns, they can't win away. If they've got the white shorts on, if they're named second on the scoreboard, they ain't winning. They travel to Melbourne on the weekend to face North at Marvel Stadium. North have been all right since the bye. Every time you play North, they have a crack. North might fancy themselves. North are at $3. The Suns are a favourite.
Yeah, I think
I think North are an outstanding bet here.
I think they're a chance, yeah. I think Gold Coast, they just need to win this if they want to play finals. I'd still be leaning towards them. I think their best is good enough. North Melbourne, been up for a couple of weeks, haven't been able to get the results. So how do they come out? I think they'll be up and about and ready for the contest, but I think the Suns will get them, as we know for well that North were able to beat them last year and potentially cost themselves Harley Reid. So I think Gold Coast will be fired up after being beaten late last year against them.
Do these sort of things get in teams' heads when a certain trend happens? So if you're a Gold Coast player heading into Melbourne or the Gold Coast squad, it's in your head that we only win at home. How can we win away? Like, surely there is a focus on that down at Carrara this week.
Yeah, there certainly would be. We've seen it with the Crows last year as well. They won all their games at home or very close to and coughed up on the road pretty much all season and cost them finals in the end. But there's no doubt there'd be an emphasis on that for the Suns, particularly their leadership group and coaching team. They'd be focused on what are we doing on the road? Why is this not working? What can we do differently? So they would have put a focus and energy into it. Whether that alters their preparation or anything like that, they may believe they're doing everything right and just been unlucky on the road. So there'll be an emphasis on it for them. Hopefully not too much. All they've got to do is go out there and play their best footy like we've seen them do against Collingwood on the weekend. They shouldn't have too many issues getting over North Melbourne.
North Melbourne owe their fans a win in Victoria, by the way. Their wins have been rare, but they've all been on the road over the past couple of years. Couple of more before the weekend, Geelong and GWS. Now, they're not playing against each other, but if they lose their respective home games on the weekend, can we put them in the pretenders category?
Yeah, I think we can. I think said last week.
GWS are playing Carlton.
Yeah, well, Giants, again, they needed to beat the Crows on the weekend over there. So I think if Geelong, it's more Geelong. If Geelong lose, they're genuine pretenders against Hawthorn at home. I think they'll get the job done. But the Giants, you've probably been a bit more less critical of if they get done against Carlton. Carlton's forming into a really, really good team. And the Giants, they just look off the boil compared to last year. They probably overachieved a little bit last year, and we felt like their momentum was going to continue on. Their players' output hasn't quite been as good this season as what it was last year. So I wouldn't be too disheartened if the Giants lost, but it'll make it very, very tough for them to make the 8 if they cough this one up.
And last but not least, Tom, Port Adelaide and the Western Bulldogs on Saturday afternoon. Can I trust Port Adelaide in this one?
No. The simple answer is no.
Moving right along there.
Not the way they're playing at the moment. Like, they had to go over there and win convincingly against St Kilda. They fell in. Had they lost that, if it was 3 points the other way, you'd imagine the pitchfork would certainly be out, but you can't trust them at the moment. They're just not getting it done consistently for 4 quarters, Port Adelaide. So it sets up as a great contest because you can't trust the Western Bulldogs either. They've been better over the last 6 or 7 weeks, but they weren't convincing again on the weekend against North Melbourne. So it depends what Bulldogs turn up and it depends what Port Adelaide turns up.
Port Adelaide, $2.02, and the Dogs are the favourites at $1.80 for that one. Okay, the moment is in. It's multi-time. Okay, now, Tom, I wasn't in last week's multi, but I'll recap it for you.
Yes.
You were out in the first leg, Lions to cover 29.5. The Lions kicked themselves out of the multi. That's not your fault.
No.
Move on. Any other result? Great. This was a great bet, by the way. Well, was this a Ryan bet?
Yeah.
Any other result in Suns Collingwood, quarter by quarter leader? Outstanding result. Tick. One that's close to your heart, Port getting the job done against the Saints. They got it done. Ken was happy for you, and he was happy for himself.
Yeah. Nervous watch that one.
You were all Ken in that one.
Yes.
And last but not least, you backed West Coast to beat Hawthorn. They were terrible.
Yeah, I just thought coming out of the bye, Hawthorn long trip, West Coast were okay the week before. They got Harley Reid and Kelly back. I thought, you know what? I'm going to have a bit of faith in them. They're good at home. Well, they've been better at home. Gee, they were disappointing.
They were, weren't they? They had that sort of like 4-week purple patch, and then Harley got injured, and it's been back to classic Weagles that we've got to know and love over the past couple of years. But we move on. We have another crack. I'm going to do the first 2 legs of this multi. I'm going to take a conservative approach, but a bit of an inspirational approach too. So I'll go with the first leg for this weekend. I cannot wait for Friday night, Collingwood versus Essendon. I reckon the Pies on the rebound after a close loss. It'll be another close game. So Collingwood 1-39 at $2.15. That is outstanding value. That's the first leg of the multi. And second, you know what? North Melbourne.
No.
Now, I'm not going to back North head-to-head.
No, don't do
but
this.
But the line at 17.5 is pretty good. And I reckon North can have a crack. I'm going to take North Melbourne at the line.
Oh, we're going to have to put in new rules next week when Ryan comes back that North Melbourne and West Coast just do not go in our multis from now on.
What if it gets up?
Well, if it wins, still just no confidence whatsoever. Well, if those two do get up, Dill, I'll go Saturday night. I think we spoke about this game. The Giants take on Carlton. I think Paddy Cripps is in great form. We spoke about him being the second favourite in the Brownlow as well. I think he's a lock for 30+. Some good value around him. And then focus our attention on Sunday afternoon, the 1 o'clock game or thereabouts, give or take a bit of GST. Well, let's lean towards Bailey Fritsch getting the job done and kicking 3+ goals in that game. I think you'll have a bit of a day out.
Yes, and if there's going to be a game for Melbourne to learn to score in 4 quarters and just keep scoring, it's going to be West Coast on a Sunday afternoon at the MCG. There's never been a perfect time to reacquaint yourself with playing 4 solid quarters of football. So let's recap our multi. So the first leg, Pies 1-39, North Melbourne at the line 17.5, Cripper, Patrick Cripps 30+ disposals for the Blues against the Giants, and Bailey Fritsch for the D's 3+ goals against West Coast. Bag that all up. $19.60 if you don't mind. That's available on the Neds app in the AFL featured section. Get around it, Tom.
Yeah, I think we're a chance as long as North Melbourne can get the job done.
Get within 3 kicks, we're happy.
Done.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website